Hello, I'm Gary Crowley and welcome to Tune, the online mix of music and conversation. Coming up on a packed show, Emma meets up-and-coming artist Cate Ferris, whilst Top Boy actor Ashley Walters answers the 10 questions. The Professor of Pop, Simon Wells, waxes lyrical about the mighty XTC, but we begin with an interview with, quite simply, one of the greats, Andy Fairwether Low. Andy, let's go right back to the beginning if we can. Where did this love of music start? You know, hearing a song on the radio, a television performance, a gig?
I know exactly what it was. For me, when I was in school, it was always football, until I got persuaded in my last year in school to go and see the Rolling Stones. On Sophia Gardens, they were on a bill, on a package bill. They were somewhere like third on or fourth on. And they started off with Talking About You. I can remember it now. And it's all confirmed because Bill Wyman's done a coffee book of the Rolling Stones. And this date in Cardiff is in the book. When I see the equipment that they must have used and I realised the size of the hall, I just wonder what we heard. Because I know how much sound travels off a stage now in a big venue, and Sophia Gardens was a big venue. But all I know, it was absolutely magical. And it wasn't one thing, it was like, I put it down, it's like a virus. Gets out there and you're done. You can't be persuaded. You cannot be persuaded by anybody. This is a bad thing to do. You need to get a job, you need to get an apprenticeship.
So let's fast forward then. You see the Rolling Stones, yep. And then what? You start learning the guitar yourself.
Yep.
And then you kind of hook up with a group of friends, and then Amen Corner is born.
Keeping in mind, this was 64. By 66, I'm in London. 67, the first single is out with Amen Corner, Gin House, and it's a hit. And I just left school, and I thought, all right, let's have another go. And the second song was World of Broken Hearts. In 2 years from getting the bug, and it was February in 64. So I'm a bit of that year.
2 years later,
yeah.
Top of the Pops, Radio London, the record's getting played everywhere.
Exciting, down the speakeasy, you know.
So you're the resident band, so, you know, other artists, other bands would do exactly the same, come from, you know, the package tour that they were doing, fall into the speakeasy, but Jimmy would get up with Amen Corner, so...
He'd get up with a lot of people,
right.
And...
but any memories of...
yeah, I was sitting on a table, there's Roger McGuinn and there's Jimi Hendrix, and it's just a bit of a conversation. And he said, any chance, you know, I can get up and play? And he got up and he played I Can't Turn You Loose. He played the bass. We were playing all Otis Redding stuff, Booker T, Sam and Dave, and he loved it.
We'll hear more from Andy later, but let's see where Emma is this week.
This week I'm in Brighton to meet quirky singer-songwriter and musician Cate Ferris.
I suppose I've been a musician ever since I can remember. Started on piano. And I suppose the natural progression from that was just to write songs. In the last sort of 2 or 3 years, I've been building up a catalogue of songs specifically sort of based around this loop pedal. But this new EP called Disappear is it's a whole new project.
You remember when we stayed up all night just to watch the birds in the morning.
This project is going to be so much more. There are a lot more visuals involved this time. I want to put together a tour. There are going to be remixes. There are going to be going to get an actual producer involved, so that he can kind of pull together all the strands of my weirdness and make it all into one thing.
Giants in our own time.
And now it's time for our top 10 questions with actor and rapper Ashley Walters, and no better place but Brighton's Rock and Roll Hotel.
Maroon 5. I had not a relationship with her, that sounds a bit weird. Well, I was filming in Canada for a bit and I got Songs About Jane. I think it's their first album, like 2002. And pretty much listened to it for the whole 6 months I was there filming. Probably She Will Be Loved. For loads of reasons. Main one was because I was missing my partner at the time. So I was kind of, as an actor, you spend a lot of time in hotel rooms or apartments by yourself, kind of either watching porn or thinking about your wife. I'm a bad boy. Right now, probably Kendrick Lamar, To Pimp a Butterfly. I always say it's my mum, to be honest. My mum's been a huge inspiration in my life. I grew up as an only child, so my mum's only child, and I've got 5 younger brothers on my dad's side. I never had a good relationship with my dad before he passed away. So my mum became like, you know, she was my mum and my dad, dragged me through pretty much, kicking and screaming most of the time, but got me to where she wanted me to be. And she was a huge inspiration. Her determination and her strength lives in me, and it's kind of what I use to get to where I need to get to. Probably The Secret. I refer to it a lot. It's a book that I read, but obviously I go back to a lot. Probably at the moment the Mane Naughty show on Capital Extra, only because it's quite current and he plays a lot of cutting edge music, doesn't really stick to a playlist. Favourite film would have to be Chopper, Eric Bana, pretty old school. A lot of people don't know about it, but one of his first films that kind of made him get known. I love my kids.
This love is just...
I hate people who pretend that they've got lives that they don't really have on Instagram. Soldier.
Now let's step into the world of Wells with our resident Professor of Pop.
Hi, I'm Simon Wells, and this week I'm going to be talking about XTC. If I walked out this door into the street, I'd probably expect it to be attacked if I said there was a band better than the Beatles. Well, as far as I'm concerned, they're certainly bigger than the Beatles and certainly much taller. They're from Swindon in Wiltshire, a place not normally associated with pop, isn't it? Terrace streets, working class backgrounds. This band were a rural band from the environs of Wiltshire, of Stonehenge, of Avebury. Led by Andy Partridge and Colin Moulding, there was a team which could rival Lennon and McCartney. They debuted in the punk rush of 1977, and they were fast and furious, but they had an edge of quality, which set them apart from many of the ferocious bands at the time. Their first album, Go To, was an extraordinarily fast-paced piece of work, but it laid the seeds for other singles to come out, making plans for Nigel, Towers of London, Generals and Major. They were slowly edging their way up the ladder. And in 1982, their album, English Settlement, was a glorious paean to the influences which filled them. Senses Working Overtime was a single which shot into the top 10. They were on the cusp of great success. And their lead singer, Andy Partridge, one of the most amazing frontmen, he was beset with anxiety. And on stage in Paris at the end of 1982, he had a panic attack and he ran off stage, thus ending the live career of XTC. But much like the Beatles after Revolver, they retreated into the studio, producing some amazing works. Right through Mama, Big Express, and then their masterpiece, Skylarking, produced by Todd Rundgren. Incredible sounds, a melange of images. They were the heir apparent, as far as I was concerned, to the Beatles. But who was listening? Not that many. A few thousand albums were being sold each time, and Virgin, their record label, were tiring. They wanted their money back, but XTC refused to tour. They wanted to work in the studio. The albums came, Oranges and Lemon, to their absolute masterpiece, Apple Venus. But it barely dented the charts, and in 2005, beset with all sorts of legal and financial problems, the band split. But they left a most amazing legacy behind. XTC, you're one of the finest bands to come out of this country. Please come back. All is forgiven. You're certainly taller than the Beatles.
Thanks, Simon. Now back to Andy. Talking of Jimmy as well, Jimi Hendrix, Amen Corner, the Pink Floyd, the Move, the Nice, Air Apparent,
Outer Limits.
Outer Limits, the Compare, Pete Drummond as well.
Yeah.
I mean, tell us about that tour. I mean, that one's gone down in folklore. What was that like?
If we were playing, say it's Nottingham and then Manchester, Hendrix, after we'd done Nottingham, we'd travel to Manchester. The rest of us, all the other bands, were in one coach except the Pink Floyd. They travelled separate, and Sid travelled separate from the Floyd, if you know what I mean.
Right.
So it was disjointed, and all that time, all that tour, and we didn't get on well. There was an altercation between Ron King, our manager, and Roger. A bit of shouting went on, which didn't add or help anything. But everybody else on the tour was fabulous. Hendrix was just a nice man, very quiet man. The only kind of conversation, he's older than me, but he's older. He's 100 years older as a musician.
Because you would have been, what, 18, 19?
No, 18 or 19,
wow.
and
yeah.
Weather's a bit nasty out there. That would be about the height of our conversation, and it's deep. And then I'd watch him, and this thing, I'd never seen anything like it. Yeah. No one had ever seen anything like it. Eric Clapton had been there with John Mayall and the Blues Breakers, so that little mark was covered. But there was Hank Marvin and Steve Cropper were the other two guitar players I'd listened to, and it was a buzz.
Yeah.
It was an unbelievable buzz in London that Hendrix was about.
Well, I'm absolutely cock-a-hoop to say that you brought your guitar with you today, and you're going to do a song for us. Yep. Which one are you going to do?
I'm going to do Half as Nice. I think it's a fantastic pop single. We copied an Italian version, and I did a radio show 2007, and the guy had found the original version and he put it on, and I went, it's shameful because we just copied it. Absolutely, the only thing that's different is me singing.
Because it's so fun, because I know it's worth a heaven on earth for me where you are. A look from your eyes, touch of your hand, I'll seem to fly to some other land. When you are around, my heart always pounds just like a brass band. If
That's it for this week. Join us next time on Tune.